There we go. All right, party people. This is your man Griff. I know it's gonna take y'all a little bit of minute to slide on up in here, so just gonna patiently wait for y'all and everything. And y'all know how I like to do it. While waiting on y'all to come on up in here, good notifications going out. Go a little music on for y'all while we slide on up in here talking about some marketing. Oh, this is gonna be a great one. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be great. And it's not marketing from Griff's perspective. So y'all know it's gonna be real good because y'all know I am not the marketing person now and stuff. And there's one of my favorites right there. I haven't spoken to you. I don't even think me and you haven't had talked this year at all. So me and you, Jessica, we got to get together. We got to talk. We got to talk. What's going on, Q? Yeah. Okay. I know YouTube's been acting funny. Well, you know, you got them haters out there. So sometimes you're trying to stop me from going live and getting my notifications and all that. So that's why it's important for y'all to hit the like button and share and all that good stuff. So YouTube would know that y'all are for real and stuff. So we're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook. We got it going on tonight, y'all. So we're gonna have ourselves a really, really nice conversation and stuff. And all that. So y'all hit the like button. Tell all your buddies and your compadres and your homies and homettes to slide on up in here and everything. I know, man. I know. You know me, man. I just don't know how to market it and be just getting anything for music. That's why I always got you in my corner, my man. That's why I always got you in my corner and stuff. So, all right, we got folk coming on up in here. So y'all hit the like button, share, tell everybody that we are here. So let me go ahead on and bring this wonderful young lady on up to the screen here. To the stage. I'm talking about to you. I don't know why I'm nervous.
It's okay. Hey, I'm loving the music. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm a little nervous, but hey, thanks. And for those of you who watching on Facebook, if you got any questions, feel free to hit them down there in the comment section, and we'll answer them and all that good stuff. So tonight, now, just so you know, Michelle, my man here, Q, okay. He's really, really good on marketing and design and things of that nature. And he's really, really good when it comes to Google My Business and understanding the he always told me the proximity, I think he called it. But he knows he's real good at that. He'll type the word in there. The relevance of where you're at and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah. It's nice to meet you, Q. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. So he's down in Florida. Okay. He's a very good, actual graphic designer, things of that nature. So this guy, he knows his stuff and everything. Now start asking me to send her the link and
she's gonna join us?
I don't know. No, she probably ain't gonna join us. Oh,
she might. I don't know now.
I know. So let me send Star the link and everything. Because, Star be struggling getting on this YouTube and stuff. She be struggling hard.
Hey, when you're doing a lot, sometimes it's a struggle, but that's why you got to have people like you to keep everybody in line. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So let me send that to her right now. All right, I just sent that to her, and okay, we got that going. All right, so Star straight.
Okay.
Ooh, good to see you there, Teresita. I have to practice saying her name, Teresita.
Okay.
That's it. Prominence. That's what it is. He's real good at helping people understand prominence when it comes to Google My Business and things of that nature.
Oh, well, hey, that's something I'd never heard of. So I would love for him to explain that. Is he on Clubhouse? Is that how
he doesn't get on Clubhouse a whole lot. He does have a YouTube channel that he has a few videos on, and me and him have done videos where we've talked about that. So I'm
going to look at some of your replays.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think he's Q's in Tampa area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's out there in the Tampa area. Okay. Good to see you there, Michael. Over here on Facebook, good buddy of mine named Michael Sheffield. Good to see you and everything. All right, so we're going to go ahead on and get started. And we just want to somewhat wing this. Now, me and Lachelle, we had a conversation the other day talking about marketing, and I shared with her some of my thoughts about marketing and stuff. And especially after, when I really thought about the concept that people are saying, go out and give away notarizations for free to title company, to direct clients in order to get them. Now, depending on what businesses do, give away stuff for free, but it's calculated and it's not always where they're going to lose a whole lot by doing it. One of the examples I was sharing with her is like, and my wife was telling me, she said, well, if you're going out, she said, that's more like you're doing a promotional thing of here's some service of mine and you can try it out. And I said, okay, but the problem I have with that is that promotional that you're doing with a title company is valued at $150 on average. So you're giving away $150. But when we give promotional pins away, they can cost just 3 cents.
Right.
We're just giving, hey, here you go, and we get ordered up. I said, that's my concern. And then the legalities behind it, as I've talked about, is, well, when you give away that $150 and say, I don't want to get paid for doing this, that money is already allotted in the whole process of doing the note. So unless that money's going back to the signer, where does that $150 go? Where does the accounting of it happen to show that it was either spent the way it's supposed to be spent, or that it went back to the consumer? And so from that perspective, I don't feel that we should be giving away signings at all, because I don't think the title company nor the lender is expecting the notary to come off the street and say, hey, I'll do 3 signings for you for free, because they're not marketing to the customer, hey, Fred and Mabel, when you do buy your house with us, you won't have to pay for a notary. Now, they may say there's no closing costs, but somebody still got to pay something and all of that. So that's what we got this, I shared that with her, and then she shared her thoughts with me. And then I'm like, okay, this young lady really knows her stuff about marketing. Not that I actually doubted, because I had no idea of what she knew. So you're being new and being exposed to the notary realm. And just so everybody will know, she's not a notary. That's not who she is. So what I'm going to do is give her the floor, and she's going to share with y'all who she is and what she's all about. Take it away, Lachelle.
All right. Well, thanks again, Griff, for having me on today. I'm Lachelle, also known as America's Supermom. I'm the mother of 15 children, and I am a media strategist. I help you to monetize your message or passion in the world and create a global impact through media. So I'm a TV producer, a podcast host, an author, a speaker, all things around the importance of mental wellness. So I overcame my own journey of 13 years of depression and 3 hospitalizations. And I use every platform that I can to educate and empower people to have strategies so that they can be successful without the expense of their health. So I'm loving the conversation that we had, because I got my degree in marketing. And what I find with a lot of people is that they believe that every strategy is one size fits all. And I love what you talked about because that's not necessarily true. And I think a lot of it stems from when people go into business, a lot of times they compare themselves to others and they don't really know their numbers or their worth. So, for example, when you already know that a title company has allotted so much funds for your services, why would you give that away? That doesn't matter about your being new to notaries or not. That's a service that they've already budgeted for. So, again, a lot of times when it comes to our business, we don't know our numbers. And so we sometimes give things away in access and then wonder why we can't make our bills at the end of the day, right? Because like
Correct.
you
And
said, if you want to give something away for free, you can give away a mug or a pen
mhm,
or, letter opener or some of these other things. Again, it goes back to budgeting and being aware of what your expenses are, and
now,
your income so that you can do
correct.
something that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, after our conversation, I got my brain started doing an even deeper dive into this concept. And I said, so is giving away something that's valued at $150 is is it based on fear? Meaning I'm
Mhm.
fearful that if I go in here and do this signing, I might mess up. So
Mhm.
I'd rather do it for free than they can't hold it on me, over on me. They can't hold it against me
Right.
because I'm new. But then I said, wait a minute. But if you spent money being trained
Yeah.
prior to this and your training told you to go, I still question that because I'm like, why would you get trained to be the best and then be told in order to get started in this business, you got to give it away for free?
Yeah. Well, see, then this is a good point because again, all things aren't equal. So when some
Right.
people invest in training and then they
Mm-hmm.
go and listen to something on social media that might
Right.
be working for somebody else, they begin to doubt what they have already invested in and then try to follow the next best thing. So I know for myself, let's just imagine if the tables were turned and you were a title company and somebody is offering to do some stuff for free, I would be skeptical about that myself. I'm like, I've budgeted for
Right.
somebody to do this, and you're saying you're going to do it for free. I would start asking questions, and I just wouldn't go with that. That's just me, myself, personally.
Right. And that
So
makes
I
sense
think,
because you've been,
yeah,
especially if you're a title company that's been doing it for a while,
yeah, yeah,
and then all of a sudden you have this in, and see, here's the thing, this just popped in my head. You're
hmm
not having just one notary come in and offer it for free. You're having a flood of notaries
hmm
coming in and saying, I will do it for free. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, you got a notary sitting there at the door waiting on you. Hey, I can do the closings for you for free. Then at 9:30, you got another one coming in. Then at 10:15, another one. Then at 11 o'clock, you got emails. Hey, yeah, I'm Earl Jones, and I can do your closings for free. And it's like, wait a minute, where is this coming from?
right,
Because now all of a sudden there's this flood of people who done been told from somewhere, go offer it for free. And on top of that, you're coming in spending money on cookies and donuts and stuff for us. And there were notaries, you probably don't know this, but there were notaries at one point, they was giving gift cards to people, to the title
wow,
companies. So you're spending money to market yourself and then to tell them I'll do it for free.
yeah. That just, I mean, I just think that I would be very skeptical because I feel like, you know, anything of value, people are not just going to give it away. I'd be like, okay, where are the cameras or,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to come after this? Because it just, one of the things that I say to my clients for people who are building up their confidence is that, I'm a Christian. So the Bible for me talks about sowing and reaping. You got to sow a seed in order to reap a harvest. So if you don't sow anything, you're not going to reap anything. So if it's free for you, what's the benefit? Right?
Right.
Now, there are times that our resources may be limited, and we can do things at no cost for people, but it's still going to reap a return. So, like, for
Right.
example, in your business, you know, we have to market ourselves. We have to actually conduct business. We have to do follow up and all these different things that have to be done. Now, you could hire somebody or you could do that yourself. But if you're doing it yourself, it's sweat equity, right? It's you
Correct.
doing this. And so it's the same thing. You may not have the resources for things, but you're going to be doing it. And you're just not getting paid initially. It's something that's going to be a return later. So I feel like a lot of people are in this mode of thinking that, you know, free is good. And if you really want to reap a harvest, you're going to have to invest something in order for something to be a return.
Correct. And that's that's the thing. And one of the things that, so as my man Byron was saying, and the guy Alex Hormozy, I think he's the guy that's right. He's some kind of supposed to be muscular guy, and he was faking like he was. And that's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to get people to understand. The notary business is very different, and we are the service. So if you have to open up a boutique, the boutique, what's in the boutique is clothes. You're not selling yourself. It's the clothes. When you are opening a car wash, when you're doing hair, it's something that's being done physically on that person. For a notary, we are the service. We are the product. Right. So we have to be careful in how much we discount who we are as a product. And one of the other things that I shared, and then we're going to move to something else about marketing. If you're telling somebody as a TMC, and that's my phrase I use, trainer, mentor, coach. If you're telling people to go out here after taking your $400,000, $600,000 course to market themselves for free, that tells me, in my opinion, you don't believe in what you taught them, because if what you taught them was where it should be at, they would never have to offer themselves for free.
Yeah.
Because if what you taught them was all that, why would they mark? Because that says something about you, that you taught them, took their money, and then said, well, to get it going, you got to offer it for free. The other part
because what did they pay you for? What did they pay you for?
Right. What are you paying them for? I mean, that's like going to college and then saying, well, instead of getting a job, just be an unpaid intern for the rest of your life. Get a master's degree from MIT and be an unpaid intern.
It's crazy. You're right. I mean, people need to think. That's the truth. We don't be thinking about stuff, right?
Right. And then the other side is, so I'm giving it away for free. And I've said this many times, but then you're looking down on the $60, $85, $95 order that could actually put money in your pocket. So if you're valued at, let's just say $200 for this closing, and you're saying, no, I don't want that money, but then you're turning down a $95 order, well, that's $295. You're out.
Right.
You're out. $295 because you're giving away the $200 value of yourself for free. And then you're saying, well, 95 is below the value that I have, so I'm not doing that. That doesn't make sense. So when do you get money, and where do your money come from that you're paying to the TMC for your next month's Facebook group subscription, mentorship, and all of that? It then starts coming out of your personal money.
Yes.
And now that's not looking good, and that's not good business, and no financial planner would ever support you spending your money that way, as well as you refusing money.
Yeah.
Because a financial planner wants you to have money coming in so you can plan something to do with the money. You can't plan to do anything with the money if you don't have any money.
It's true.
Using everything. So what are some of your general ideal tips, or I would say, what are your tips that you think that from what you've experienced with notaries that could help them, irregardless of how new or senior they've been in the business? What do you think they should focus on or possibly do, or anything of that nature?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is relationships, right? We were talking a little bit about this, in understanding that a customer should have a lifetime value, right? Because there's a lot of things that you need notaries for. It could be for waivers with your kids for school, for not taking shots, right? They don't want to get immunizations for health reasons or whatever, so you want to get a waiver for that. It could be, you are doing estate planning, and so you need a
Right.
notary for that. So I think, there are life cycles and phases that people might need a notary for. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not building relationships, it's like you're always chasing a client. But
Right.
and if you're focusing on nurturing those clients and
Mm-hmm.
building relationships, you're never going to have to chase a client down, because that client is going to refer you. You're staying top of mind with them. And I think we spend too much time trying to be on Facebook or some of these other platforms and neglect the time that we should be spending with our clients. It's easy to, go through your Facebook and say, okay, well, what are these friends are my clients?
Right.
And let me figure out when their birthdays are. So when you figure out their birthdays, you can send them a card, or,
Correct.
some kind of postcard. Hey, do you need any notary services? I can give you a $10 discount for your birthday. Right.
Right.
It's not hard to not reinvent the wheel. But the thing about it is, when we distract ourselves with trying to do what everybody else is doing, we miss
Mm-hmm.
out on the money that's on the table for ourselves. So
Right.
I say
And
relationship building is one thing. The second thing is asking your people, calling them up. I mean, how many people take some time to actually reach out to their clients and say, hey, you know what? I'm looking for some notary work. Do you know anybody or any organizations? They may have a cousin who has a title company, or a realtor or something like that. We just don't network the right way. That's what I would say.
yeah.
So those two things are kind of top of mind for me.
And now from a spiritual aspect that you shared earlier,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I did, and I would have to say I had an advantage coming into the notary business. I already had other businesses that I've done, and I had a business that I was doing. I've been through the Amway, Shackley, Prime America, ACN,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But I did learn some things from those individuals, things to
Mm-hmm.
do and not to do. Listening to the Zig Ziglars, the
Mm-hmm.
Tony not Tony
Tony
Evans,
Robbins,
Tony Robbins. That's it. Tony Robbins,
Jim
um,
Brown, all
your
them.
Miles Monroe,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miles Monroe, um, and then what's his name, Les Brown. Listening
Mm-hmm.
to those individuals, you start getting a different mindset. So when I came into it, I said simply this. I just prayed and I said, okay, I need to know. I said, Father, show me how this business is going to work for me, the flow of it for
Mm-hmm.
me, where I'm at physically. So I'm physically in Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. I
Mm-hmm.
see what everybody else is saying this business is, but I need you to show me, based on my personality, based on what my concerns are, based on where I have no fear at, my family, show me how this business should flow for me and my family, where we're at, so I can be successful. And then I need you to help me define what success would be for me and my family,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't base my success on what other people are saying. It has to be based off of what you're showing me and what I know I can do. So what I found was that when I did market, and I used some of the tactics that you shared
Mm-hmm.
from experience, I've learned some of those things. And I'm glad you said it, because it told me I was at least doing it right. But what I found was that in my area, the signing companies had already blanketed this area and had a lot of the direct title clients saying, we only go through the signing companies. So
Mm.
now I heard all of this, get direct, get direct, get direct. But when I go to them, they said, hey, that's nice, but guess what? We don't need you, because we got notaries in the back here that we can do it if we need stuff done in-house, and we use signing companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I need to find out what the signing company thing is. I Googled notary signing company. That's how I found SnapDocs and Signing Order and all of them. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna just sign up for them, and that's where the bread and butter is for me, because in my area, that's the flow. And now that was in 2018, 2019. Fast forward to now. Now I have some direct clients that work with me. But what I did learn is that in my area, again, the flow in my area, the direct clients don't have enough business that they can give me to sustain me without me doing signing company business. So now I got a decision to make. Do I let go of the signing company business that is basically 95% or more of my revenue, just so I can brag online and say I got direct clients? Or do I learn how to work both together? So that's what I had to do. I had to learn to work both together. And I said, and that's why I tell people, for the last 3 years, I've been telling everybody, the first 6 months of the year, act like social media don't exist, get away from it, and run your business like you're not even, like social media doesn't exist. Because if you ran your business without worrying about who you're gonna brag to and who you're gonna get interviewed by, I guarantee you'll be out here making money, because you don't have the noise from everybody in your ears telling you that $80 signing wasn't good enough. You're hurting the business. You're hurting. This is what they also say, Lachelle. They tell notaries, if you take anything of such below $100, you're hurting the business. Now I'm trying to figure out, how would all these notaries who are taking orders under $100, it ain't hurting the business too much if I'm averaging 75 per month, and I did 86 appointments last month. It ain't hurting the business too much, because there's still business out there for me, as well as others. And there's some people out there that I've come across, they're doing 100 appointments a month in this supposedly downtime where notaries are hurting the business by taking less of things. So share with us some of the things that you think that a notary, or really a business owner, needs to learn how to do in order to stay focused on the goal of marketing without mixing it in with bad information. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, but, it's good. I mean, you're bringing up a lot of good points. And I think, again, it starts with knowing your skill set and your own value. Now, a lot of times when it comes to us starting a business, we have a lack of confidence, because usually it's our experience. Now, as you mentioned, some of these notaries, they get training, which can help them build their confidence when it comes to maybe the skill set. But, it's like anything else. The more you do it, you're working towards mastery, right? Because you're having more opportunities to do it. The thing about it when it comes to business is really being clear, like you mentioned yourself, what is your ideal scenario for your lifestyle, for the amount of income. And so you should have that clearly defined and then work your business into that. A lot of people, they listen to what other people say they could be making, and they don't really know their numbers, and they're going around trying to figure out what they should charge. They don't really invest enough in themselves to have the confidence to decide what they want to charge. And so what happens is, you're trying to get these numbers and these orders, and let's say you have 100 signings. Do you have the infrastructure to support that? Are you, is this a part-time thing? And then you get 100 people and you can't even service them all? Do you have a network of people that if you can't do the signing, you can trade them with somebody else, or, do some kind of situation like that? A lot of times, people want the business, but don't have the infrastructure to support it, right? So when you have that clarity around knowing what you want, you can really make strategic decisions. If you have somebody who's saying, hey, this signing is $95, but it's related to an organization or something that you're going to be getting so many a month, that might be worth it, because you're going to be getting more money than just that $95. So again, a lot of these issues, you're not able to see clearly if you don't take the time to really map that out in the first place, because your business should work for you, not you working for your business, right?
Correct.
So I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. And I think people are trying to accelerate success, and they feel that marketing is it, because what do they, first thing everybody say, you need to market. And and even tonight I had a Thursday night meeting with the mentorship group that I do with the 60-day challenge. And so outside of Sunday, I will meet with them at least, another time on Thursday.
Okay,
And
overachiever, I hear you.
huh?
I said overachiever. I
Yeah.
hear you. You go.
Mm-hmm. So
I feel slighted now. Okay.
Yeah, I do 2 meetings a week with them. So one of the things that I learned is that if you can market all you want, but as you shared, if the infrastructure isn't there,
right,
because you don't know when somebody might say, I need you.
Yes.
And the moment you start humming and umming, oh well, look, I gotta do the kids, I gotta do this, my husband ain't got back with the car yet, this, that, and the other. And the reason why I'm saying it, because that happened to me a couple of times when I used to do some photography and we only had one vehicle and I didn't have the infrastructure together, and I didn't plan it properly, and my wife needed to use the car to go do something, and I'm sitting here like, oh man, I'm gonna be late for the daggone wedding.
Right. It's true. It's
so
true.
You got to get the infrastructure right, because in my slogan, something I came up with, I said the number one way to market your business is to be ready to do business. So if you're not ready to do business, after you market, and see, I don't do a whole lot of marketing, but the people who have worked with me, they know I'm ready to rock and roll with them. So they know they can call me, and they know that I will find a way to squeeze it in if I can. And they understand that I'm busy doing other stuff, and they're like, hey, I know you're busy, but can you squeeze it in? Right. And then I say, well, I can do it at this time. And they will actually go back to the title company and say, hey, look, our number one notary, they're not available at that time. And this is last minute. You called in on the same day. Can we push it to later on in the evening? And sometime, I would say 50-50, the title company will be like, okay, yeah, we'll do it in the evening. Sometimes they say, nah, we got to go ahead, stick with the same time. And I'm cool with that. But at least the company thought of me, because they said, we know Griff is available to get it done. So one of the things I think is that if notaries can get themselves in a position to be able to get it done, even if it's only from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., you let people know that, hey, I got you. And I used to call myself Hampton Roads #1 nighttime notary, because that was the only time I could do it.
Oh, that
was the
good.
slogan I
So
came
you
up
see what
with.
I'm saying? Yeah. So what happens is you have made yourself, you've branded yourself, right? When you started and you did that. And so it leaves a lot of, doubt, it just removes all that, because you have certain areas where you're consistently showing up. And so people will remember that. Oh, okay, if I need somebody at night, that's him. This is the way that a lot of people, because, there's more than one hamburger place, right? And if you think about McDonald's, they got one on every corner, and it's the same restaurant. So I think a lot of people focus too much on, you want to do what everybody else is doing, but then you don't want to show how unique you are. Why should they go with you as a notary? Right? So if you're doing what everybody else is doing, well, then how are you going to guarantee that you're going to get any business? Right? Because you're not going to be able to stand out. People are not going to, they're just like, hey, these notaries are a dime a dozen. So you have to begin to figure out, what is it that makes you unique? Maybe you're the one that, calls them or sends them a calendar around the athletic games, right? You just send it with your logo or something on it. You have to think of ways that you can stay top of mind. Do you have like a fall festival, where you collaborate with the local realtors or something, and people that are doing open houses, right? I think about like realtors. Nobody goes to the open houses usually, but what if you were a notary that was there at the open house? Hey, I want to support you. I want to give you some cookies. Now, this is something you could be giving something out for free. Or I'm going to give you some ink pens, and you sit there, and all the people that come through that open house, you getting their name and number. or giving them your postcard or
Oh no,
business.
you're right. Now here's something. Now this is something that can work, and we're talking about marketing tips that can work. So
Mm-hmm.
what can work is that when you have an event, let the other people, let the other entities that you would like to do business with know.
Yeah.
So what you just shared with me, here's a marketing tip that I think could work. Notaries at one point in time was doing things where they were doing pop-ups. They were doing pop-up
Mm-hmm.
show at some place. So
Right.
what you could probably do is an indirect way of marketing, in my opinion. You tell me whether this is good or not. So
I'm
what
writing
I
it
would
down.
do, so here's what Griff would do. I
Okay.
would inform you, the title company, how you doing, Lachelle. I just wanted to let you know I'm doing a pop-up session for people who have non-real estate documents that they might need notarized. So I just want to let you know so you can tell people in your community to come out. I'm not asking, let me be your preferred notary. I'm not asking, hey, do you have some closes? I'm letting you know that I'm over here doing some community stuff, and I wanted to include you and let you know that if you know somebody who may need a notary for a will, power of attorney, or estate plan, or anything like that, I'm gonna be over here Saturday. Feel free to stop by, and if you want to leave if you want, like, I can swing by, pick up some of your business cards or flyers. If there's anything that you would think that could be given to the public, I'm not asking you for work, but I'm letting you know I'm out here working
Yes.
and doing stuff. That's one thing that I would do. Not that's I thought about.
That's
I
a good
did
idea. And
right.
another thing that came up while you were talking is, how a lot of the local places do
Mm-hmm.
stuff for back to school. So they have the teachers and sometimes they have the superintendents. Everybody does like a back to school drive. You
Right.
can have your pop up at the back to school drive. See if you could have
Correct.
a booth there for
Mm-hmm.
people that need to have their records notarized or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So I love that idea, but see, the thing about it is we spend too much time trying to compare ourselves to other people rather than thinking about what we can do in our own backyard, how we
Correct.
can support people. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you even think about what kind of documents do you notarize? Well, where do you find those documents? Go
Correct.
to the bank, give them your
Mm-hmm.
card, even though the bank has a notary there, but still you never know. There might be somebody who comes in and they're not a bank client or something. I don't know.
That is right.
Um, yeah. So, think about where do people usually, car dealerships. Okay.
Correct.
Just a lot of different things that you could begin to think about. Lawyers, estate planning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the list goes on and on. So start being strategic and intentional about those type of relationships
Yeah.
that you can start building to be in front of the audience
Right.
that you're going to be servicing.
Now here's something that I do, and it puts you in the hot seat when I'm about to tell you. This puts every notary in the hot seat if they do this.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies will say, "Hey," or individuals say, "Well, I have notaries already that I work with, things of that nature." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, if your notary ever comes across something that's questionable, or you feel something might be questionable concerning proper notarization," I said, "Give me a call. I'll be more than happy to research that for you."
Mm-hmm.
I've said that, and I've gotten phone calls, and they'll say, I say, "Yeah." I said, "Just in case you come across a notary and you think they might be doing something a little sketchy, because not everybody knows how to do this correctly." I
Yes.
said, "Give me a call and I'll look into it for you and provide you with the answer or help them to do it correctly." And I said, "And if you have a
Mm-hmm.
notary that's stuck on something, give them my number and tell them to give me a call if need be." So I'm saying I'm still here for you, even though you're not actually hiring me to do the work, but
Yeah.
just know that I'm here to support you. And one of the things I always share, and it's a preacher named Mike Murdoch who said it, and I'm sure he probably took it from somebody: people only pay you for the problems you solve, not the ones you create. So when I go into,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, when me and my wife heard that about 20 some years ago, we were like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man. So I built all of my businesses on problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
Identify to me what your problem is, and I'm gonna put forth every effort to solve that. And when I market myself, and I did this when I used to have a W-2, I used to do IT work. I would be in there and they would be in an interview, and I'll say, okay, so for this position that you're hiring for, what are the 3 things that you're looking for a person that is going to fill this position to fix? I said, because you're hiring somebody because something is broke. So what's broke, and what things are broke, and what do you think needs to be done to fix it? I say, because if you can tell me what the problem, what you believe the problem is, I can tell you whether I actually am the right person for it. Because in general, I can say I'm the right person for the job. But if in your heart of hearts, this is really what you want done, you need somebody to do this, and that's not really outlined in the resume, I mean, in the job post, then I could end up being the wrong person for this position. So when I market myself and I tell people, I say, look, even if I'm at a networking event, I say, what's one of the problems that you've had with notaries? If I'm talking to a title company, so tell me something that you've had issues with that you would like notaries to fix for you. I say, I don't care what it is. And if they come back and say, well, I just wish they would be on time, not a problem. I said, if you use me, I promise you, I will always be on time. I will make sure that I'm on time. Or they may say, well, sometimes the notary gets a little too mouthy and they talk too much during the closing, or they interjecting. Not a problem. I keep my mouth shut. I said, that's the easy fix. So that's what I do. I find out what the concern is that they have, and then I present to them a plan to fix it. So that means you got to be sharp on your tongue, you got to be on your toes when you hear what the problem is. And then it's like, well, okay, that's the easy fix. Here's what I can do to make sure that happens. If it's something more complicated, I say, well, look, I'll have you an answer by tomorrow, or probably by the close of business today. Then I go with my notary buddies and we'll talk about it and get some ideas. And I say, here's how we can fix this. And then they're like, oh, okay. Now, from that standpoint, now they look at me as a fixer. They got somebody that, okay, any other notary who comes in there after me, they might then turn around and say, well, how would you fix this? And that notary was like, okay, that ain't what my notary trainer told me in module 16 of them, how to market and get new business. I don't know. What do you mean answer? No, I'm telling you, you need to hire me. You need to select me. Well, we want to know, what would you do to fix this issue? And if your mind is nowhere near there, you just got me a new client. Because they're going to compare. I love that. Right. Because they're going, in other words, what I'm doing, one marketing tip that I will give people, create a scenario when you're with them to where they can now compare other notaries to what you said.
Yeah.
You want to be,
that's good.
You want to be a little bit different. You might say to some of the similar things, this, that, and the other. All this here, I'm a white glove notary, this, and okay, cool. But you got to be able to say something that makes them say, I haven't heard a notary say that before.
Right. Well, like, I love that part that you said about the, solving the problem. And I think, part of marketing is really being clear about who you are, right? Your introduction, so like myself, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I would be, somebody asked me who I am, what I do. I'm an identity inspector, so they would be like, what does that mean? Yeah. Oh, well, I make sure that people are who they say they are before they sign documents or something. The thing about it is you want to make people curious. Right. See, a lot of times we go trying to sell people stuff without making them curious about what we're talking about.
Correct.
Right. So those are the things that you want to educate people about. Right. Because, you want to have them think just a little bit different. And once you really raise the bar on who you say you are, then people have no problem paying what you say you're going to charge.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're telling them something different. Right. It's not what everybody else is saying. And so they're like, oh, my gosh. OK, so identity inspector, they're probably really doing a thorough job, doing some research or whatever. Let them think whatever. But the point is, it's how do you position yourself in the market? Because that's the thing that really helps to elevate you before you even say anything else.
Correct. And like somebody just asked a question about, is is the market oversaturated? Technically, it's been oversaturated for several years. It's been, but like one person told me, said cream always rises to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another person, Bill Soroka, said it said it's not oversaturated if you're trying to be an excellent notary. If you're trying to be a top-notch notary, being a notary that people can depend on, it's not oversaturated up there. If you're being a mediocre notary, it's oversaturated with mediocre. I'm about to say okra. With lame notaries. I'll just be straight from the street.
It's late. I know that's right.
You got some notaries out here who don't want to exert themselves into the business. That's where the problem comes in at. So if you're a person who wants to exert yourself, you're going to raise yourself up to a next level. So when they see that, it's like, okay, wow. And that's all I do. I mean, when I get a phone call, and another marketing tip, in my opinion, when they call, I'm always answering Griffin Notary Services. How can I help you today? And they're like, oh, okay, right. And they get on the phone, and I always ask this, so, do the introduction. I said, so how things been going with you? So let's just say they're talking, yeah, we got this order, they just said the other, they're just trying to get business done. And then I say, okay, well, yeah, I can do it at this date, this time. And I say, you know what, excuse me, how are you doing today?
It's true.
And they're like, oh, thank you for asking. I said, because it sounds like you pretty busy and you really trying to work today and get some stuff done.
Right.
So everything I'm saying, I said, I'm not trying to be, I said, just, are you doing okay today?
It's so true. I do that with people.
And they love that. People appreciate that.
Yeah, because they feel seen and heard. I do that with people when I go through the drive-through or anything, any business. It's like, hey, first I want to acknowledge you, before I even try to do anything. It's just like, even when I sometimes get right to what I'm thinking and forget to say good morning to people when you text them. It's like, hey, do you have such and such as number? Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. Because we can be on a road of thinking, hey, I got to get this done, just like what you said. And so it's important to connect with people. And it doesn't take a lot to simply say that. Even when people call me on the phone, whether it's, I can look and see who's calling me, whatever they might be calling about. So it's like, you do have to take that time. And that helps you to kind of stop the flow of chaos. Because people can call you, you might be peace out, and then they calling you with some, emergency. They need somebody like in an hour or something. It's like, wait a minute, let's just calm down. Don't bring that stuff over here. Okay.
Right. And see, one thing that I also found is, as a man, and you're speaking to a young lady on the phone, I keep in mind that she could have been through all kinds of mess with the man in her life or the men in her life.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and y'all might not agree with me on this, but sometimes as a man, you just take a moment out of your time and just show some care to a young lady. You ain't trying to push up on her. You ain't out here catting around. It's just giving her something that she really deserves, which is, like you said earlier, to be seen. So how you doing today? Even when I meet young ladies in person. Now, my wife's a cosmetologist, so I know I pay attention to hair. So I see hair, and I say, oh, that's a nice bob cut you got. Oh, you know what a bob cut is? I said, yeah, I know. Oh, I said, I see how they lay. I said, and especially the color, and my wife, I say they did a great job on your color. And they're like, oh, I say, yeah. I said, that's a really good color. I said, I'm not too good at picking out what color it is, but it looks good. And they did it all the way down without any overbleeding onto your scalp. And they're like, whoa. So when you can show that they appreciate that. And even with you young ladies, that's a nice suit you got there. When I see guys, and I'm just be straight with y'all, I'm 100% honest. As a black man, I come across white men, and I know that they may have a particular perception based off of what they see on social media. And when I talk to them and I say, man, you know what? Those some nice shoes you got on there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite shoe styles is wingtip.
Okay.
So if I come across an older gentleman, I'm 57,
Mm-hmm.
I've come across a guy in my age category or older, and they got
Mm-hmm.
on wingtips, I say, man, those are some nice wingtips.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, breaks the ice, and then they look at you differently.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
look at you way differently and everything and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if I see them and they have such and such real estate, I say, hey, look, I don't want to take up much of your time. I'm a notary. If you ever need a notary to take care of any of your closings, give me a holler. And
Mm-hmm.
that is a really, really nice outfit you got on today, sir. And then I keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just taking a little time. See, I don't ask. The one thing that y'all got to understand in your marketing, the young lady or young man behind that counter at that title office, their job is to work for the title office. It is not to get
Mm-hmm.
you business. It is not to be on the lookout to get, oh, okay, hold on. Let me call Griffin, tell him we got 5 closings coming. That is not their job.
Right.
All they need to know is that, can you be available for when they need you?
Mm-hmm.
I never ask the people who are being paid by another entity to do work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do not. So that's another differentiator that you can slide in there. All the other
Mm-hmm.
notaries, hey, here's a $10 gift card if you call me and tell me. I don't do that. I don't do that whatsoever. You know, so these are some good tips you shared out here with us, Lachelle. I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate that.
You are
I'm
welcome.
serious.
This is my thing. I love marketing. Yeah, but
So
you brought up some really great points, and
go for it.
and I love the engagement with everybody. I want to thank them for being a part of the conversation. I learned early. When I first started doing podcasts, it was like, okay, I'm over here just trying to overcome being in front of the camera. And then it's like, is the lighting right? Okay, well, people are commenting, and it's like a whole direction that you are doing behind the scenes. So, but I do love when people are engaging because lets you're getting that feedback that is resonating with them, and that is something
Yeah,
that they feel you're sharing some valuable content.
yeah. So
Hmm.
the bottom line, y'all, the marketing tip that works is the one, as they always say, when you think outside the box.
Hmm.
In order to think outside the box, you got to first see the box, know what's inside the box. You go and you look inside the box. If I can open this box up, there we go. You look inside the box and you see, okay, got it.
Hmm.
Now let me think outside of this here concept and
Hmm.
see how I can bring something special to them to meet their need. How you think some of you young ladies got with the man you with? He thought outside the box. How you think some of you men got with the woman you got? She thought outside the box.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. When you think outside the box, opportunity opens up for you. But if you stay within this here,
Yeah.
you can get to a certain, you can move forward in life to a certain degree, but it's the person. Everybody got all these pictures of Jeff Bezos and what's his name, Steve Jobs, and how they
Hmm.
did this. You can do the same daggone thing.
It's
You
true.
can think just as much outside the box as them. Now, will
It's
it
true.
make you a billionaire? I don't know, but
Hmm.
you can't begin to try to be a millionaire or a thousandaire or 50,000 or whatever until you at least think a little bit outside of the norm.
It's true. Hmm.
Because all the TMCs are doing is teaching everybody the same thing, and then everybody's flooding the market saying the same exact thing. And after a while, people get numb to hearing the same thing. Now you
It's
got to
true.
be able to share with them something different.
It's true. And I think one thing that I would also add too is that,
Mm-hmm.
people need systems, right? There's the book Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yes.
And he says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our
Of our
system,
systems.
right?
That is
And
correct.
so, we'll get a client, won't follow up. Then we looking for another client. You should have a steady system. What is your client process? Then how do you do your lead generation? What is your follow up? Everything should
Mm-hmm.
have a system so you can take that emotion out of it. You
Correct.
also can have something set up so that if you need to delegate to somebody, they have a structure on what they're going to do, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people feel like, oh my gosh, I need help. And they don't know where they can get the help from, right? What they can have the help doing because they don't have certain processes and systems in order. So
That is
if
correct.
somebody was to help them, they don't have a place to put them or don't know what to do, So I would say that's another thing when it comes to, your business is have some systems in place, even if it's an email campaign, right? If it's like,
Yes.
after every signing, I send them a thank you email or something, or a thank you text, put that stuff in place so that you can go back and refer to that or reach back out to those people when something else is happening. If you're going to be doing these community events or pop-ups, there's the people that you can notify about it, that you could have a raffle. Hey, I'm having a pop-up, if you say Star Wars 3 times, you can win but you have to be present or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Yeah. That's all you got to do. And
Mm-hmm.
just keep doing the small little things and it will work. I'm
Mm-hmm.
serious. It will work. So what I'm doing right now is I'm copying this link to Atomic Habits. So
Okay.
anybody who wants to buy that book, it is a very good book
It's
that
good.
you can purchase. Here's a link to it on Amazon. And I'm telling you, it will help you out because it's all about, as he shares in that book, getting 1% better every day.
Yes. And if
And
you
that's why I
guys want
said,
to hear some discussions about it, I have some replays on
gotcha.
Clubhouse. Yeah, we did a book club study on that.
Excellent. So stop trying to rush to success. Take it
Mm-hmm.
1% every single day. Just get 1% better each and every day, and you will see growth because then you start getting a foundation. Trees don't quickly grow. They
Right.
take their time, spread the roots, figure out what's the best way to sink down and to spread out, all of that kind of stuff. A bamboo
Mm-hmm.
grows underground for up to 10 years, and then next
Amen.
thing you know, it shoots up. It gets
Mm-hmm.
this foundation. The reason why many of you are not successful in business or just in general is because you don't have the proper foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the opportunity for you to be successful comes, you you have not laid the proper foundation to support an additional 10 signings a month, an additional 20 signings a month. People ask me all the time, Griff, how is it that you can handle and do all of that stuff at 57 years old? People always keep reminding me I'm 57. I'll be 58 next month. The reason
Well,
why is
happy early
because,
birthday.
thank you. The reason why is because I put forth a lot of effort in making sure the foundation is straight.
Mm-hmm.
And the first foundation is my family. Make sure they're straight. Make sure they're well taken care of. Because if they're taken care of and they have the stuff they need, then I can focus on the business. If they're not straight, then it's hard for me to focus on the business because I haven't gotten this part together. So
Mm-hmm.
get that straight. Then it's like, okay, what do I need to have in my business? That's why I got 2 printers back there. That's a part of my foundation. Not everybody has to have 2 printers, but based off of what I saw that I wanted to do in this business, I said I got to have 2 printers. So I can
Absolutely.
be more efficient. That way I can send one order to this one order to that one. I can get the stuff done in half the time. And I'm not wasting time being up all night with 5 or 6 signers printing off of just one printer. I can get it cut down quickly with 2. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then some notaries I know they got 3 or 4 printers, and they're even more efficient. So that's where your foundation is at. So that way you can support an increase in business opportunity. Many of you can't support an increase in business opportunity because you don't have your infrastructure together.
That's
If
right.
somebody told you right now, we'll pay you $200 for every signing that you do, and we got 15 a month. Do you have things together in your life to be able to do that? It's either yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't got time to wait for you to get it together when they present it. You should already have it together. You should already be thinking that way. I did 86 last month. I'm already, what y'all don't realize, been thinking about being able to do 100 closings a month. or 100 appointments, period, per month. I'm already thinking that. I have not hit it yet, but I'm already thinking there and already know what I need to do in order to support that. Have you thought about that? You might be at 15 a month. Have you thought about what happens if it goes to 30? Are you ready for that? Do you know where you're going to get your paper from? Do you have a backup in case you need ink? All of that kind. I have all of that stuff already laid out. I already know where I need to go. I already know what the cost is going to be. But if you haven't thought that direction, sometimes when you ain't thinking in that direction, the stuff won't come into your direction. That's a spiritual principle there. You got to be thinking sometimes in the direction that you want to go in order for things to come in the direction that you need it to come in, which is to you. So think correctly and stop worrying about bragging and being populous or popular in these Facebook groups and all this stuff on social media. All of that's cool, but that stuff don't always pay your bills.
It's true. That's true.
All right.
Well, I have really enjoyed this, and I want to give Star a shout out.
Yes.
She was watching us on Facebook, and she's reminded me to mention my book. So, yeah, yes. I am an author, and my books are on Amazon. I've written anthologies, a guided journal, overcoming the depression, talking about that, and sharing the insights and strategies. As a mother with a lot of children, I was an only child. So every day is an adventure and a learning process on how to get along with different personalities and how to learn how to navigate through my priorities and the priorities of my kids and my husband. So I have just really enjoyed myself tonight. This has just been a lot of fun, Griff. Really appreciate, meeting you in the 60-day challenge. So I do want to give a shameless plug for that too, because if it wasn't for that challenge, then we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. Now you're muted or something. I can't hear you.
And the information for the 60-day challenge will be in the description. And here's one of her books. I just put the link in the description there for y'all. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking. I'm really happy that you did it live because a lot of times I think this is really good to do it live and to see people, stuff, the questions and all of that. And people love lives anyway. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. And then it was a great opportunity for it to be streamed on your platforms and things of that nature. And I want to thank those who support Lachelle on LinkedIn and Facebook for tuning in. I really, really appreciate y'all. So thank y'all very, very much. Y'all are awesome on all the platforms. I really appreciate y'all, even on my Facebook platform. I know I don't stream to that a whole lot, but I greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. So is there any final words that you'd like to share with the people?
Well, I would say, networking is a lifeline to your business. We met on Clubhouse, and I believe that, we should always be in our brand wherever we go. I'm not a notary, but, there's principles that we have in common when it comes to any industry. I'm in car rooms, real estate rooms, I feel like we can always learn from somebody. So I think being flexible about the people that you communicate with, because that even takes a lot of the pressure off from feeling like you have to sell people, right? Because you're in a different industry. And so people can be more vulnerable and transparent, and you really can problem solve together and really mastermind and brainstorm. So I say people need to be intentional about adding to their network of connections wherever they go.
Excellent. I ain't got nothing else to say, y'all. I ain't got nothing else to say. I don't even know. I normally do a special Fritter Friday. A Fritter Friday video. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do for my video tomorrow night. If I figure something out and everything, because this will be a hard one to follow here.
Oh.
But I love it. I love it. And you know, I started to say, let's wait till tomorrow. But I said, nah, we need to do this tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this needs to be done tonight. So this I'm just so pumped. I'm serious. I don't know when I'm gonna go to sleep now. So thank you again, Lachelle.
Oh, you're
And I want to
welcome.
say thanks to your husband and your children for
Yeah.
allowing you to spend time with us tonight. Really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So tell all of them, Griff and the crew
Hopefully
here, the
they in the
party people,
bed,
we
okay?
appreciate it. Huh?
I said hopefully they in the bed because it's 10:12. But
Oh,
you know how it is. When kids know you doing something else, they being
mm-hmm.
quiet so they can do what they need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you,
All
Griff.
right.
I appreciate it. It's been great.
No problem. You have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye everybody.
All right. Oh, I forgot to tell her, keep your internet connection up. I got to tell her that. So when this here, let me tell her now. I forgot to tell her that. Oh man, my bad, y'all. I forgot to tell her that. Okay. Keep your internet connection up to upload the video. My bad, y'all. I meant to tell her that before she hopped on. All right. All right. Well, look, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Thank y'all for everything. I greatly appreciate y'all as always. We'll see y'all tomorrow for the Friday. All right. We'll come up with something. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.